Holler at us next week, man.
No doubt, man, and definitely shout out to the family, liberationmindedmedia.net. That is Black Eye Stand, Still the Knowledge Radio, The Rundown with Renee, and My Skin is My Sin. Oh, and don't forget to share the show, man. If you check it out today, or if you check it out next week, or if you check it out in 1,000 years, and if you are that motherfucker that digs us up in 1,000 years, you are the most phenomenal individual to ever walk the galaxy for digging up this greatness and still share our shit, man. Shout out to you. Don't forget to check out the websites, emeraldshell.com, designsbymonet.com, and myskinismysin.net.
What you know about that call? That your day one just check. And them tears start to fall. And your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop. What you know about that call? That your day one just check. Then them tears start to fall. Then your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop. Let's start from the beginning. I had to look up the villains, cause the role models was missing. You talk what I'm living. Brothers and daddy in prison. Grew up a house full of women, so I didn't listen. Family had thought I was tripping. Changing my ways, they was wishing. Found out I was gifted. Put all that pain in the booth, let the beat drop, then I rip it. Revenge, ambition. I know it might take a minute. I'm not gonna stop till it's finished. I come from the trenches. Nothing was free or was given. You had to get up and get it. Your life I ended. Walk up and do your ass vicious. And I'm not leaving no witness. Better mind your own business. Sticking your nose up in mine, or be the last time that you smack. In high school I was ditching, skipping practice to fuck on some bitches. I swear I didn't think I would finish. But when God got a plan, ain't no quitting. We got Glocks and them clips real extended. We in high-speed bell, I hopping fences. Twitter beef and you want some attention. Don't go tell when the murders get senseless. What you know about that call? That your day one just check. And them tears start to fall. And your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop. What you know about that call? That your day one just check. Then them tears start to fall. Then your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop. I shedded them tears, wishing that my homie lived. Went crazy, fucked up the crib. I hopped up in traffic, switching lanes and switching gears. Thinking about who I'ma kill, my man in the rage. Positive thoughts get delayed, can't think straight because of this pain. I don't give a fuck about your age, you out there shots to your brain. Aim on this Glock, give me aim. They put my little bro on the button, they put my little bro on the news. They put my little bro on the shirt, I swear that shit hurt. Now we gotta make him feel worse. No, you can't loaf in these streets, we watching them posting them tweets. Slide through and caught him on feet, no, you cannot outrun this heat. Bag on his head, throw him in the back seat. Thinking about how this shit go. Kill him fast or just torture him slow. He keep dropping names, he a hoe. Still gon' die, thanks for letting me know. Now we got all they ass in a row. Finna take all they ass out they glow. And we finna go up on a score. And the book say you reap what you sow. What you know about that call? That your day one just check. Then them tears start to fall. And your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop. What you know about that call? That your day one just check. Then them tears start to fall. Then your palms start to sweat. Now you loading up that Glock. And you sliding through them blocks. And you ain't letting up until you make a hard stop.
Uthandaze njalo mawuthola ithuba ungalingi. mawutholi ithuba ungalinge uthandaze njalo mawutholi ithuba ungalinge uthandaze njalo mawutholi ithuba ungalinge thandaza 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 uthandaza. Yeah, I wish you were here. Yeah, I wish you was here. Yeah, I know it's been long, but it feel like it's now. I made it feel like it's now, and this feeling is so bad. And I thought I'm doing good, and man, I thought I'm doing good when you left me alone. And now I'm past the shuma, yeah. I'm all alone in my room. I just switch off the light. I fuck up and light up the blind. Man, I wanna get high until I reach for the stars, until I shine like a star. I stay on my grind. Mama gave me all the heart, my father gave me all the look. And I know tandas, 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 tandas. Uthandaze njalo mawutholi ithuba ungalinge 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 thandaza 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 Tandas, 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 utandas.
Tandaza loba, akukhulula ukuhlala usopa. Ngiyaza kukhulula impilo enzima. Tandaza loba, akukhulula ukuhlala usopa. Ngiyaza kukhulula impilo enzima.
I was starting to break down. I was starting to break down. I might need me up and down. Zinto zonke ziyape. I stay on my grind, my nigga, and I know it's hard, my nigga. I pull out my socks, my nigga, and I know the game, my nigga. Uthandaze njalo mawutholi ithuba ungalinge 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 thandaza 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 Tandas, 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 utandas.
And you are now tuned in to episode 6 of Intellectually Petty Radio, brought to you by My Skin Is My Sin. My name is Jobs. And how are you? How's your life? How is your day? If you're having a shitty one, hopefully we can make it a better one. If you're having a good day, hopefully we can make your shit great. First and foremost, man, I gotta say rest in peace to my father. Rest in peace to my mother. You know, my pops passed away the other day. Well, yesterday, and my mother passed away last month. So I gotta show honor and respect and appreciation for the contributions that they made to my existence, to my growth, and to my prosperity. I learned not only from their tutelage, but from their mistakes as well, and that's how it's supposed to go. So salute to them. Y'all did a fucking phenomenal job, and you will truly, truly, truly be missed from now into eternity. Today's topic is hallucinogens, and we got the brother Abdul Wilkins in the building. I'm going to give him a call as we speak, Usually I don't, I have people call up, but you know what? Today is a good day. Today is a great day. So we're gonna call him up and say what's up, and get him in on the line. And you should be able to hear the phone ringing. I'm not sure if you can actually. Let me make sure we got that Skype joint. Okay, we should be good.
Hello.
What's good, Abdul?
Peace and blessings. What's going on? What's good, brother? How's everything?
Well, you already know, man. Life is life. We're trying over here, bro.
Right. That's right.
How you doing, though, man?
I'm doing a massage.
The dude multitasking and shit.
I'm multitasking. Yo, listen, man. I didn't know I was gonna be out here doing a little massage party out here. So there's a pool back here. We chilling, having my nice little drink, smoke, just cooling out, and just doing a massage to this nice sister right now. So she's gonna vibe with me. I'm gonna put it on speaker so she could hear too, and we just gonna vibe real nice tonight. You know what I mean?
All right. You sound like you already feeling great. I'm just saying.
You know it, man. You know it.
Like you got ready for the show, for real.
I'm all ready for the show, brother.
All right. And let me just jump off, man. This is the sorry ass definition of hallucinogen that when you Google it, it gives you a drug that causes hallucinations. Is that it?
Well, when it comes down to the definitions of hallucinogens, the whole subjects of hallucinogens, all these things, we're going to look at that as a term that most of these Europeans use. All right,
okay.
We're gonna hit you over the head like that. You know what I mean? Because when we deal with hallucinogens, we're talking about something that you're hallucinating, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about tonight is not a hallucination.
Okay.
It's not anything that's being conjured up in your mind because of some particular substance that you have taken. None of that. What we're talking about tonight is organic spiritual technology that your ancestors have used for years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we think about technology, we can think of the modern day age of computers and different things like that, right? But also we had technology in Africa, in the Caribbean, that our people are not even privy to. You know what I mean? And that goes into relation to what we consider what these so-called things of being hallucinogens, what I really call teaching plants and teaching fungi. You know what I mean? Or better, they say sometimes you might hear a term called ethogens. Ethogens is really making a term that's really meaning awakening the divine within. You know what I mean? So this is something that we're going to explore tonight because we understand that these so-called hallucinogens or medicines have been used throughout the world, particularly big time in Africa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, now, when I think of a hallucinogen, I'm thinking, somebody dropping some acid and having a fucked up ass trip.
Yeah, right. Some real hippie trippy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. like school me on what it, what is an experience like, and what would be the hallucinogen with the most effective and positive outcome.
Okay, when most people, that does come to the people's mind. When we think of things, when people hear things about like psychedelics or hallucinogens and things like that, most people, their mind goes really to like 1960s, where you see these white hippies walking around, flower power and all this other shit, right?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people's minds go. The sad thing is that, yes, we were excluded in many ways during the hippie movement in the 1960s because it was shut down by the Nixon administration before we really got a chance to see the full potential of this organic technology, you see? Mm-hmm. So it didn't even make its way to the hood. So the beautiful thing now, the era we're living in now, is now this new psychedelic or renaissance that we're having right now, that we're experiencing at this current age, is now it's making it to the hood. And now how are these teaching plants and fungi affecting melanin? You know what I mean? Because the only thing research we really got in America is through the so-called pioneers that started it. You know what I mean? That popularized it in America, which was Timothy Leary, Ram Dass. These were Harvard professors right here in Massachusetts. And they actually had legal studies with LSD and mushrooms and different things like that until they eventually got these guys fired, because they were seeing their students and even the professors themselves were learning much more from these so-called psychedelic trips than their whole career in the schools. You know what I mean? So that was something that didn't really add up for the universities, because even these professors were saying that they were learning more about the brain and how the mind works than their whole time in academia. You know what I mean? So this was something interesting that was going around in the white communities. But like I said, again, it didn't trickle down and make its way to the hood at that time. Mm-hmm. Now that we are at this age where we have the information is spreading, and more people are now being able to look up different teachers of color and different people that are interested in these teaching plants and fungi. Myself, I started with the mushroom when I was in college. I got a scholarship. You know what I mean? I got a scholarship at Northeastern University. I'm an artist. I do a lot of things. But, you know, my family, all of them, they paint. My father, he was he did the jazz thing. He met Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis. That nigga even played with, Pharoah Sanders at one point.
You know what's interesting, man? I hate to cut you off, but my you know my father just passed. He was an artist.
Our condolence, brother. Again,
I appreciate that. Yeah, he was an artist also, man. So shout out to you, bro. That's dope.
Yeah, man. And it was my father. You have to understand, I grew up in a household of revolutionaries, artists, free thinkers, all that. You know, one of my aunts was a Black Panther. My father, he was in the jazz scene. He even went to Woodstock to see Jimi Hendrix play live, and Sly and the Family Stone and all that shit. So I grew up
right there.
yeah. So I grew up I grew up in Roxbury in Boston. I'm from Boston, but we got several hoods out here. You know what I mean? The Black community, that's where Bobby Brown and them came up, in Roxbury. That's where I'm from. You know what I mean? So we had, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. Those are the hoods in Boston. You know what I mean? And even though I came from a very spiritual background, I didn't give a fuck. I walk out in my neighborhood. We got all kind of projects, especially in the 80s, going through the crack era. We was going through some shit here in Boston. It was literally a gang on every fucking block. So I learned real quick the meditation, all the Tai Chi, all that shit my father was trying to teach me didn't really mean shit, because I walk out the street and see niggas getting shot, all kind of shit, right? Yeah. So for a long time, I had to really kind of figure me out. Who was I? Just on a survival tip first. And then I was blessed to meet the gods. You know what I mean? I was blessed to meet some of the niggas that was dealing with the gods. I was dealing with the 5% Nation, and then meeting some cats that was dealing with the Nubian Nation and even the Moors and stuff. So I was able to see older brothers that was still street, that was still doing their thing, but they still had knowledge of self. And they were teaching me things from a very young age. I'm like 12, 13, learning that Black people come from outer space. And for me at that time, I was like, what the fuck are y'all dudes talking about?
Right.
You know what I mean? Y'all
you lost me on that one. I need to know.
You know what I mean? Y'all niggas is watching too much Star Trek and shit, right? But I had to go through my own studies, go to my own library. This is before the internet. All these newbies, you know what I mean? I had to sit with teachers, you know what I mean, and study and really see that, hold on, these niggas are not that fucking crazy after all. You know what I mean? These like, okay, the Dogon tribe, talking about the Sirius constellation, way before the invention of telescopes. How the fuck did they see that shit? How did they know about Sirius B and C and all this stuff? You know what I mean? And then they're learning about the Zulus. And them dudes talking about how we came from Mars before we came to planet Earth. So I started seeing a whole different level of how Black people look at history than how we were given in our schools with this whole Darwin theory and all these other things of you coming from a monkey out of a tree.
And all of this is off of some hallucinogens.
It's part of the story. You know what I mean? The hallucinogens come later when it's revealed all those things, because I believe in showing improvement, you see? This weekend, even the retreat with the sacred toad medicine revealed all that, brother. But that's a whole other story if we get into that. But when we deal with hallucinogens itself, the first time I had them, again, was at college, right? Now, niggas don't really eat mushrooms. You don't really eat
that's a white boy shit, right?
And all that. That's a white boy shit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting a scholarship, and I'm over there chilling. My first year of college, dog, I couldn't fit in, dog, because before I'm knowing killers, I know pimps, nigga, all kinds of shit, and just the guards too. God was just showing me all kinds of things. You see? So when I was at school in college, I was like, yo, I don't fit in. It's like the black people, they are too bougie. You know what I mean? I'm from the hood. You know what I mean? I don't deal with the white people and all that shit. You know what I mean? They on some other shit. You know what I mean? And so eventually, I dropped out. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I went to an old folks home where I started working with the elders. I got a job, and it was an elder. I'll never forget him, Mr. Jackson. He told me how he seen his cousin get lynched down south. Wow. You know what I mean? And how they had to early in the morning take him down. And he said he remember they had poisonous snakes and shit in this pot below in water in his feet, so the fucking snakes and different things could eat, bite his feet while he's getting hanged. Just some real fucking crazy shit. You know what I mean? Wow. And I remember the elders told me, "Oh, you got a scholarship? Man, you better go back to school, boy." You know what I mean? And they seen some potential in me. They seen something. And I went back to school, dog, and I finished that shit. But before I finished it, I met this chick who gave me some mushrooms. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, man, I don't deal with I smoke a little weed, drink a little beer. That's about it, bro. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And it's like, nah, Dooley. It was my birthday, too. It's, but nah, Dooley, you got to try this. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm thinking, like, okay, boom. Mushrooms are like natural. You know what I mean? I like them shits on my pizza. You know what I mean? Fucking spaghetti, you know that. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
I know what you mean.
I mean, so I said, yo, can't go wrong with this one. Maybe give it a try. You know what I mean? Listen, man, blew my mind, man. Changed my whole life. First of all, first lesson for people out there that want to deal with this. And the proper term for niggas that are really into this shit, we call ourselves psychonauts. Like you have an astronaut, you have a nigga that does a psychonaut, one who travels in his psyche, to understand the deep layers of one's own unconscious mind. You know, those who want to choose to be able to even travel and understand what is even this reality about. All kinds of shit. It gets deep. There's many layers to it. And like I said, even before I got on the phone, I mean, these things that we call hallucinogens are even tools for us to bridge the gap between this physical world and the spiritual world. Meaning that you can have direct access to your deceased ancestors. Your uncle, your mama, whoever that passed away. That's why when you seen that movie Black Panther, what did they show? What did they show with T'Challa? You know what I mean? They showed that they gave him that particular plant. I forget what they called the plant in the movie, right? But what happened? And they bury him, right? They bury him. And nothing, all they were showing in that movie was nothing but a rendition of ayahuasca, or better yet, psilocybin mushrooms. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because
now let me ask you this though: like, isn't that did the Zulus? If I could be wrong, but I know they took something before war.
Yes, they took mushrooms too, my dude. You know who taught me that? Was Baba Kalindi. Rest his soul. He's still doing work on our side. That was one of my teachers, and I love him. And I'll tell you how I met him in a second. But Baba Kalindi, if those don't know him, that's the mushroom master. That's the dude that had the Tamarian Institute in Detroit. That's the man that starts the Detroit Psychedelic Conference. I spoke there at his conferences many of times. And I've met the most brilliant black minds in the universe at those conferences. I mean, men and women that have a whole different way of thinking. You see? Mm-hmm. Baba Kalindi taught us about our connection with these so-called hallucinogens and our ancestors. He was the one that bridged the gap and gave us the blueprint, my brother. You see? When he taught us about the history of the Zulus in South Africa, he showed how we kicked the British ass through eating the mushrooms. And also we had a very potent type of cannabis that they would take in the warriors back then with it. Because you have to understand what the mushrooms does. One of the properties to it is that you could see very far. You start to have HD vision, high definition vision and shit. The sister right here that I'm doing a massage on, she could testify. She said, my vision, she took a mushroom yesterday. She was telling me her experience. She said, man, my vision started clearing, started going, you know what I mean? You have to understand. You have to understand how
everyone can't be like
hold on. You have to understand how our indigenous people use this medicine. You see, in South America, they did the same thing. You see, when they used to go out and hunt, they would take certain medicines like combo, which is frog medicine. You know what I mean? And then they would do some rapé, where they would blow up the tobacco snuff up your nose to even get your vision even more clearer. So these niggas are seeing at dead at night. And then they had, you know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Even Harriet Tubman used to take the mushrooms, Baba. Kalinda used to tell us. That's how she was able to navigate through the Underground Railroad with so much success. Her third eye was open, and she was able to see certain slave masters and shit going down this path or that path before they fucking walked down there.
Now, it can't. Everyone can't be optimal though. Like, what's the worst that could happen on some shrooms?
The worst could happen is that you get to see your motherfucking self that you don't want to look at, nigga. That's the only fucking worst thing I see, in my opinion. We call that shadow work. We call that unresolved issues, trauma, things that's under the rug, swept under the rug because you don't want to deal with that or look at that because it's so fucking painful. We call that epigenetic DNA, shit that's in your bloodline, curses, all kinds of shit. Niggas raping you during back in slavery, all kinds of shit. So much fear that's in your DNA that you have shut that down, that part of you. You see, that's the worstest thing, that you might have a revisit of trauma that you have to heal. And is that really a bad thing? No. It might be something that's very psychologically challenging at the moment, but when you have support around you, which you should when you're doing these journeys, then you, God damn it, that's when the warrior is supposed to come out of you. Because that's the time when you have to say that, I don't want to hold this no more. I don't need this no more. I don't want to walk with this no more. And then you start to see after those journeys, even though they might have been very rough or very tough, at the end of that journey, the new day has come, and you feel like a complete new person. And I have testimonies on that, brother, even from this weekend. I had a spontaneous healing. Do you hear what I'm saying? I had spontaneous healing, which happened to the brother. We was dealing with the Bufo medicine, the strongest goddamn psychedelic on this fucking planet. That's the shit that fucking Mike Tyson smoked.
And what did you look at again? I didn't hear what you said. What did you call it?
Bufo. B-U-F-O. All right? That's 5-MeO-DMT. Dimethyltryptamine. Shit that get you shit, man. We'll talk about DMT later. But Mike Tyson smoked that shit. And if you look at his show, he has an excellent show on podcast called Hot Boxing. You know what I mean? And Iron Mike, that's my dude. I always loved Mike. You know what I mean? Because he came from the gutter, dog, and he came up and he fucking mastered himself, dog. You know what I mean? And when this dude took that Bufo and smoked it, and we're looking at ferocious Mike Tyson that could take anybody out, he said that shit folded him. That shit humbled him. And his friends that know Mike, after he smoked that shit, they was like, that's a whole different dude. He's more calm. He seems more at peace with himself. He seems more happy. You know what I mean?
Damn.
You understand? Now, I'll give you another one. Iboga, my nigga, which comes from Africa itself. Gabon comes from the bead tweed tradition. All right? That deals with addiction. So if we dealing with all this thing talking about, what they call this? What kind of crisis they calling this shit?
Oh, the opioid crisis.
Opioid crisis, right? Opioid crisis could be done overnight. You know what I mean? Overnight. We have a spot in Boston called we call it Zombie Road or whatever. It's right down there, Boston Medical, Mass Ave over there. Dog, if you go down that street, nothing but fiends everywhere. You know what I mean? The fucking mayor and them gave them an open fucking lot, nigga, for them to have share needles, nigga.
Are you serious?
Do you know how many times I literally had to save people's life because these niggas is about to walk into oncoming traffic? Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like, bro. Yo, it's like, when I talk about Iboga, nigga, look up Iboga. And you'll see, like, all these Hollywood stars. You'll see that shit being used all throughout Europe right now. Getting niggas off of coke, getting niggas off of crack, meth, all kinds of stuff overnight. When they come back home, their loved ones are like, who is this person, dog? He's totally different. Because what I learned, the first book I even heard about Iboga was through this dude named, what's his name? Graham Hancock. He had a book called, fucking name of the book. I forgot the name of the book, man. But he was talking about different teaching plants in that book. And I read about Iboga, which was talking about how it could be used as a time travel plant. Okay? I'm going over her glutes right now. So that's why she's kind of yelling in the background. Okay?
I bet.
All right, sorry. I am a multitasker.
All right,
okay?
and so I googled that really quickly, and it's just literally what you said. It's used for medicine, fever, the flu, swine flu, high blood pressure, HIV, AIDS, nerve disorders. They also take it for preventing fatigue and drowsiness, increasing sex drive, for fighting substance abuse and addictions, and as a general tonic.
Yes. But they fail to name on there because these people that write it fail to recognize the metaphysics of the plant. And of course, a lot of people that write it are just academics. They don't actually go in with the medicine. They actually don't get through the initiation that the B-Tweed tell you how to go through. Because you have to understand, we had various black secret societies. Everybody want to give up, oh, fucking New Yorker, this white secret Illuminati, all this other shit. You know what I mean? But we don't talk about even the black secret societies and the knowledge that is only passed down from mouth to ear. You know what I mean? So I'm going to tell you something, man. When you don't even know the metaphysics of Iboga on the level of time travel, then we're talking about parallel dimensions, my nigga. We're talking about when you go on that trip, you literally can go back to that time when you was at that party and you might have sniffed that first fucking line or shot up that whatever or smoked that whatever. You know what I mean? So at that time, you have a new opportunity to rewrite the script. You go back, as shamans say, you're doing spirit travel. As people that deal with metaphysics, they say you're astral projecting or whatever. You go back to that time in that parallel dimension, and you say, listen, I'm at the same party, I'm chilling with the same folk. You know what I mean? This go round, I'm not taking that shit. And actually, I rewrite my DNA. And actually, when I come back out of the so-called trance or fucking so-called hallucinogen, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm different. I rewrote my DNA. You know what I mean? Now, some people say that could be a theory. Some people say whatever. But all we do know is that the shit works. All we do know is, like, numbers talk. You know what I mean? All we do know is that niggas go on that Iboga shit. These niggas kick their habit overnight. About 90%, my nigga. So who the fuck is talking about an what they call it? Crisis, whatever? Whatever crisis. The fuck they want to call it. You know what I mean? What the fuck is that? I don't know what the fuck that is. You know what I mean? Because all I know is
they got to make money off.
All I know is there's solutions out there everywhere. Even the scriptures tell you there's a cure for everything except death. You know what I mean? So stop playing. Stop acting like Mama Nature ain't got your back. Stop acting like your ancestors ain't got your back. Stop acting like Great Spirit ain't got your back, my nigga. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You know what I mean? Even this so-called COVID shit. I've been telling motherfuckers, go fuck with the frog, my nigga. Go fuck with combo, nigga. And I mean, that's the venom from the frog in the South America. That's what they call the ancient vaccination of the jungle. That's been on record to cure AIDS, all kinds of shit. Cancer, diabetes, all kinds of stuff, dog. I got testimonies even on that. Homies that came home, dog, had some some fucked up shit with the, can't get up or whatever. He's like, yo, could this help me? It's like, yeah, hell yeah, it's gonna help you, my nigga. Here, take these fucking poisonous, these venomous darts, my nigga, and fucking throw up all that fucking toxins out of your fucking body so your body could work like it naturally supposed to. You know what I mean? He come back, he's like, yo, man, I'm good. Me and wifey's good. You know what I mean? We saving motherfucking relationships here, nigga. I love my people.
So there's a poisonous frog in South America.
Yes, sir. Throughout Brazil, throughout Colombia, different parts of Mexico. You know what I mean? It's called the combo. You know what I mean? Combo it's the green leaf jungle monkey frog, or also the medical term for it is what is it? Philo Medusa something, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not into details. You look it up yourself, motherfuckers. But anyways, listen. All I know is you get that motherfucking frog, all right? You get that motherfucking frog, and he's friendly as shit too. He don't got no enemies either, because he's so poisonous. Nobody want to fuck with him. He's happy as a flea on a dog's ass. You know what I mean? Nobody fucks with him in the jungle. The lion, none of them. You know what I mean? Whoever's around, the alligator, whoever, no one fucks with him. Once in a while, a snake might lick him, act like you want to eat him, but that shows you how deep the snake is, because when the snake doesn't feel good and it feels like it's off point, it eats a little of, licks a little of the venom off its skin or whatever, so they could have a fucking cleanse for the snake. Now that shows you how deep God is, my nigga. You know what I mean?
So where do you get all this shit from? And from my understanding, like it was explained to me, it was recommended, and I've never done any of this, don't get me wrong, but it was recommended that if you do, you do it within a group where you have a couple people that aren't doing anything that kind of monitor everybody else and kind of walk you through things.
They're called, in the psychonaut community, they're called sitters. Okay. They're people that really don't go in, but they're just there to support you just in case you go too deep and you need some grounding. All the key words that we use is called grounding. Grounding, all right? Grounding can occur in many ways. There's different ways to ground a person, right? So say, for instance, you're going through an experience that some traumatic shit tries to come up in you, right? I'll give you an example. I'll give you a real-life example. This past weekend at the retreat, a sister started having, she was going through her shit. All right. Now I knew she was gonna. It's my job as a shaman, not to say I don't like these titles, but as a person that's been doing this work, it's my job to see what's on people. You know what I mean? Right. So I've seen two of them. You know what I mean? Come in out of the whole group. It's gonna be one of them nights, and sure enough, it started happening. Right, like clockwork. She started going off. I give her some sacred medicine. Right, and then at the time I do some sacred prayers for her. And she starts purging, and she's okay. All right. Now, what Spirit showed me is that what was on her was sexual abuse. It was. I'm not so clear on that one, but it was. I don't know if it was her father or her grandfather, but someone was touching her when she was very young. All right. When we deal with trauma, it's stored into your body, it's in your muscles, and your subconscious, all these things. So there's layers to healing, my friend. I'm a Reiki master of many different traditions. Shambhala multidimensional healing, Sekhem Reiki, Egyptian Reiki, pranic healing. I'm also a practitioner of Usui traditional Reiki, also Jore Reiki. And, well, that's not technically a Reiki. That's one of his boys, Dr. Usui, was doing the work back then in Japan as well. But essentially what I'm saying is this type of work reveals when we're talking about trauma. There's many of times where I even massaged people, and because there's trauma that's even held in the muscle, I could hold a certain part on the muscle, and that person has a release of trauma, start crying or laughing uncontrollably or what have you. This is what happens even on mushrooms sometimes, or even ayahuasca or peyote or any of these sacred medicines. A person might have a breakthrough or some type of release, where that person might be, you might see them in the ceremony crying for hours. You have to understand, I've been at many ayahuasca ceremonies, brother, from many different traditions, from Peru to Brazil. You know what I mean? And they all have their different ways of approaching the medicine. Some lay down and have you meditate with it and then do the akaros, or the sacred sounds, right? The sacred songs. Some say, hey, no, it's no time to be laying down no more. Let's do the dance to the Risha, you know what I mean? The Netaru or what have you. You know what I mean? So I know from experience, brother, that this trauma does come out sometimes, and you have to be able to be one of those sensitive individuals, those skilled individuals, to know how to deal with those situations. And there's many ways that you could deal with it. You know what I mean? You could sing a sacred song to a certain person to bring them back to earth, to help ground them, to help them feel the love in their heart at that moment. You know what I mean? There's many times in ceremonies where I had to hold individuals and rock them like a little baby, because they went literally back to their infant stage in that journey. You know what I mean? And at that moment, they felt abandoned because this happened or what have you. You know what I mean? It's deep, brother. And this is a real deep form of psychotherapy. That's why when Timothy Leary, like I said, who was at Harvard University, who was a psychotherapist for many years, and even Ram Dass, they said you could go so far with the Freudian called, what's his other motherfucking psychologist? I forget his nigga's name at the moment. But you could go so far with that approach, just an analytical left brain approach. You have to bring in the right side of the brain, which is more dealing with the subconscious, dealing with the dreams, dealing with the spirit realm, and all those things. Now, I'll give you an example how even psychedelics or teaching plants and stuff can deal with the spirit world and contact your ancestors. All right? Mm-hmm. The first ayahuasca experience I ever had was with a great shaman at that time. And we did it smack dead in the hood. That's why even these motherfuckers that feel like, oh, you only could experience this deep in the jungle, get the fuck out of here. Y'all don't know shit. You know what I mean? I've gone through the multi-universe in my motherfucking tub, chilling in my pajamas, my nigga. So get the fuck out of there with the tiger pajamas, because that's my fucking one of my totem animals. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here with that.
One of your who?
But anyway, huh?
You said one of your totem animals. What's that?
Totem. Oh, okay. I was going to go to the connection with the ancestors. But okay, we could ride on that for a second. Totem animals within the Native American tradition could be compared to like your spirit guide, your angel, your helper. You know what I mean? But they look at it from the Native American perspective as an example of an animal. We did the same thing in Egypt or Kemet as well. Because you look at the animal figures that they used in Egypt, right? Or Kemet. And you had like Horus or Haru. He was the falcon. He had the falcon head. Now, the ancestors didn't just use a falcon just because that was cool or look fly. Nah, nigga. Everything we did had a meaning to it, my nigga. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at the falcon because that shit is the highest bird that could go in the sky and see everything. You know what I mean? So it's able to see at all angles. That's why you even have the Illuminati niggas, Rothschilds, all these motherfuckers that try to use the owl symbol, right? Because again, that's another totem animal, again, that could look, 360 degrees around it, see all angles, and then could see at night. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
So you dig. When you see an animal that comes across your path, I'll give you an example. I was seeing mad bunnies last week. I was like, oh shit, my nigga. I'm about to get mad money. Money's coming our way. I was like, yo, just mad bunnies every other day.
Okay, you gotta tell me. What the fuck does deer? Tell me about that, because I got a fucking family of deer that are assaulting me on a daily fucking basis next door to my house.
Deer deals with the heart, my friend. You know what I mean? When you deal with the deer, like, look at the symbol of the deer. You ever see Bambi, right? We all seen that shit, right?
Yes.
Bambi was talking about a level of the heart chakra. So anything on that level is kind of reminding you or trying to give you some type of level of be good with your heart, my brother. You know what I mean? It's trying to remind you.
You say that? I had a fucking heart attack last month.
Oh my God! I'm sorry to hear that.
It's just fucking 2020. Just throw this shit away.
Okay. I understand, my brother.
I have only seen the deer once since I had my surgery.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah,
so that's telling you
shit.
that you're good. That's telling you that you're working on it. And I do Qigong as well. So Qigong is a science that some people might call martial arts, but really it's also about energy cultivation. You know, in Asia they have this word called chi, and they name it the life force energy. And they believe that you get sick when your chi is blocked, when you don't have enough of chi, all kinds of stuff, right? So with Qigong, you do these exercises to renew your chi, to bring more energy into body, to renew your organs, all kinds of stuff, right? So there's a particular exercise directly for the heart. You know what I mean? And there's a sound that goes with it, which is so you make it real, you take a real deep breath in. And the type of breathing we do in Qigong, we breathe from our abdomen. So we breathe from our stomach up. We're taking a full breath with all our lung capacity. You know what I mean? We deal with a lot of shallow breathers. And that happens as you deal with a lot of trauma and stuff through society, you see? But when we're young and you observe a newborn infant, look how they breathe. They're breathing from their stomach up. They're using all their lung capacity.
Their accessory muscles.
Yeah. So
that's what they teach you, like when you want to sing, like certain notes. I think that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. So that's the type of breathing that you do when you breathe in and you say, and you visualize your heart. At that point, that's when you use creative visualization. You start seeing, this is where you use your mind and the gift of your mind to heal your own self, right? Because we know there's such thing called the placebo effect. So we already understand that science already showed us how powerful our mind is when we totally believe in something that we really know is true, right? Because you have niggas that are in the placebo effect, right? On the experiments that get real medicine and then get the sugar pill. But because they believe in the medicine so much that they heal their fucking self. You know what I mean? So we are powerful, my brother. You know what I mean? So when we visualize our heart and we do certain movements and Qigong with it, with the sound as well and certain breathing, it's been proven through many thousands of years that the masters that took time to really understand about health have seen that these different movements and sounds actually help this particular organ or that particular organ. You see? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me some information on that one, man. Cause I quit smoking. I smoked for like decades, bro. I quit smoking. Haven't had a cigarette literally in 2 months. I'm trying to work on my diet. You know, I'm exercising. Like, I'm not ready to give up breathing. You feel me? Yeah. So I could definitely use some assistance on that, man. Now we only got like an hour to go. I don't know how much longer. You know, I got you on the phone. And
you chilling with the massage. How you doing? You got my sister.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Give a shout out to the people who's like, yo, how you feeling right there?
I'm thinking she doing good.
As long as both hands are on me, we all good. There was a couple of moments I was getting excited with the show, and I'm like, I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up right now. I'm getting too excited. My hand's supposed to be back on her again. I'm fucking up. You know what I mean? So thank you. Okay. All right. We're going to go back to it. Yeah. All right.
So let's get into the DMT. Talk to me about that. What is it first and foremost?
Well, DMT is called dimethyltryptamine. All right, that's the psychoactive compound name or chemical for this substance. All right, we produce it naturally in our own body. Believe it or not, you know what I mean. There's a good book by this man named Rick Strassman. All right, look it up. Go get it. Get the book, whatever. Or if you don't want to read the book, better yet, go to Netflix and there's a book, a documentary called The Spirit Molecule. All right, check that documentary out real quick on Netflix, and it talks about everything that you want to learn about this thing called DMT. All right, DMT, Rick Strassman proven first through experiments with laboratory mice that he's seen through the mice that they produce this psychoactive compound in their lungs and in different areas in their body. And then eventually he started to see the correlation and seeing that was true in humans as well, and that we produce it in abundance when we're born, brother. Also when we die, and also when we're dreaming. So what does that tell you? That this psychoactive compound, or DMT is the key link to having a spiritual experience, basically. You know what I mean? So you basically are born in a psychedelic state, right? You die in a psychedelic state, and this thing that we call dreams is catapulted by this motherfucking DMT shit, and it's released through our pineal gland, through our third eye. So that's why when we teach our children, we look at the kings and queens in Egypt or Kemet, and you ask the little shorties, be like, yo, why you have a cobra? Why did King Tut or whoever had a cobra on their crown? Near their head, in the middle of their head, because it's like, hey, well, shorty, they already knew about DMT back then. You see? They knew that we produced it right in the middle of our brain. You know what I mean? And that there's different ways that you can produce it. You could produce it through, like, again, what we was talking about earlier, through the mushrooms, through the ayahuasca, through different plants, different things like that. Also, you could produce it through different type of breathing, all right? There's a thing called Wim Hof Breathing. There's a white dude that actually, if you look him up, this motherfucker swims in these icy-ass waters and motherfucker went up Mount Everest, I think, with just his shorts on. Now, we could say, well, those Europeans come from the caves anyway, and Caucasus Mountains or whatever, so it's in their DNA that they could deal with the cold. But they also have other peoples around the world that's shown, like the Tibetans and others, that show that when you do certain type of breathing, you could heat your body up. All right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, not only heating up the body, but having a psychedelic experience through the breathing. Okay? And there's also a thing called dark room therapy, where niggas would stay in the dark 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, just in the dark, no light at all. And through the darkness would spark their DMT. They would have a secretion out of their third eye, because their DMT definitely is linked to melatonin. And as we know, melatonin is produced in the evening, and it's also produced in high abundance when you're in darkness. All right? When you have lights in it, the worst thing you could do is go to sleep with that artificial light on, because you're not producing enough of melatonin, nor you're not producing your melanin or the DMT. All right? When you have a blindfold on, when you're totally in darkness, okay, let's go there, my nigga. Why the fuck do we live in all this artificial light? Why the fuck that we live in cities? The worst thing, when we live in cities, when we usually have the city lights, when you have all this artificial light all around you, you're not producing the DMT. You know what I mean?
I personally, like, it's so difficult for me, because I'm one of those people, like, I don't stop thinking. And, like, when I try to meditate, and I mean, like, I'm starting to see, I see fucking, like, crazy ass little people doing just weird shit. Like my brain just fucks up all the way.
Yeah, I got something for you on that. It's called combo. I talked about it earlier, the frog, that poisonous frog. Do you know that I have a client that used to come to me every time, he's in college right now, white boy. Mm-hmm. He would come to me every time he would have a big exam, because he realized after taking the combo that his level of focus would be razor sharp. You know what I mean? That all the chitter chatter in the mind and all that other stuff would be ceased. It would be a lot of quiet there, you see? Because the combo has peptides in it, and we have peptides in our saliva as well. But the peptides that are produced on the skin with the poisonous venom, do you know that the pharmaceutical industry has over 50 known medications that they got from that frog already, from its peptides? And each peptide serves a different purpose, you see? So they have one particular peptide that definitely deals directly with the brain. You know what I mean? So that's why, and then there's another peptide in the frog that deals with particular diseases, fungal, different bacteria, different things like that. I don't have the medical term on my mind, on my lip right now. But again, we have the internet, so go fucking search for yourself. And plus, I've been drinking and smoking and doing a massage at the same fucking time. All right? So anyways, let's continue. Okay, we continue. Now, again, so my nigga, get a combo session. And again, what was combo? The frog in the jungle, the original vaccination. all right? They tell you to push you to go to Walgreens and CVS and get this bullshit Bill Gates vaccination that will have heavy metals in it and all kinds of unknown fucking craziness, but yet you have a vaccination that's been used in the jungle for thousands of years that has been proven to cure all kinds of diseases and all kinds of different things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So come on, man. And even when we're talking about even the level of the chitter chatter in the mind, so that could be one thing, brother. First, getting a cleansing. You see, because we're dealing with this Babylon system, right? We're eating. Do you know how long it took me to? I can't even find a fucking watermelon with fucking seeds in it anymore, my nigga. You know what I mean? That's the time we live in. That's the age we live in. As in Hinduism or in India, they would call this the age of Kali Yuga, meaning the age of strife, discord, and disharmony. This is the age where we're so disconnected with Great Spirit that we don't know our ass from our elbow. And this is the time where our youngest brother is in control. All right? Now, if you have siblings, you know how your younger brother or younger sister act. They want all the motherfucking attention, right? Hey, look at me, look what the fuck I could do. You know what I mean? That's a white man. You know, that's our youngest brother. Now, when you understand other indigenous cultures that have been around for very long times, that went through galactic wars, yes, I said it, galactic wars, and other things, they already dealt with nuclear war and other those things. If you don't believe me, go look at the Mahabharata in India. It's a description of how we dealt with nuclear war back then. There's certain scriptures even in Kemet or Egypt that talks about when we was dealing with nuclear war back then. The greatest thing that this European did to your fucking mind is to make you think that the only progression is now, this so-called new age that we're in. When we talk about Atlantis, when we talk about Lemuria, we understand that black people were even in power back then and that we had high levels of technology. You know what I mean? When we talk about cloning, all this other shit, that's just nothing new. You know what I mean? I had a friend of mine in college. He was from India. His name was Hari, right? Mm-hmm. I remember this was around maybe 2000, 2001 or whatever. This motherfucker hit me over the head. He's like, Dooley, you ever heard of the Vamadas? I was like, Vamada, what the fuck you talking about, nigga? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was like, yo. He said, that's the flying machines that my ancestors used to have in India. I was like, what? You know what I mean? So you know me, I'm going to do my research and shit. You know what I mean? Because I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I'm going to go look my own shit up. You know what I mean? Don't believe, even y'all listeners out there, don't believe shit that Dooley says. Go out there and fucking learn for your fucking self. Go take a mushroom yourself. Go fucking sit in the ayahuasca yourself, motherfucker. Go smoke some DMT yourself, motherfucker. Because that's your own experience. You're supposed to experience your own shit.
Hold on,
not
bro.
me.
Hold on.
Okay, all right, go on. Okay, sorry.
I gotta put a disclaimer. I gotta put a disclaimer out there. No, wait, hold on. I don't mind it, but I gotta put a disclaimer. Our show is not responsible for you fucking up or doing anything. If the shit turns you upside down and you turn into a pink elephant,
like that.
It's not our fault, bro. So we ain't responsible for this shit.
This is for educational purposes only.
Yes.
Let's get that on the motherfucking record.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes, let's get that on the motherfucking record. And excuse me for my cursing, but I'm doing this for my people. Because sometimes if you come all intellectual, all this other shit, well, who the fuck you, this nigga. No, I'm coming to the real, and I'm letting you know this is real. You know what I mean? This is from our ancestors, brother.
I'm grown, bro. I've heard every word you said.
Hold on. Now I'm going to hit you over the head with this, all right? Because it's time to hit you over the head with this, all right? Do you know last week when I had this ceremony, right? There's a brother of mine. We call him the warrior chief here in Boston. Good brother. Real solid dude. Martial artist. Always having the youth out there doing the katas and the flips and all that stuff, right? Disciplined brother, all right? My ace, his mama died, right? His mama died, right? He going through some shit. He started smoking that crack. You know what I mean? He started sniffing that coke, my nigga, right? Dooley don't deal with that shit. So I'm like, yo, you my dude, dog. You my guy, dog. But I can't fuck with you, dog, because you being real different right now. You know what I mean? I can't, you know what I mean? And at the time, I didn't have the frog with me. You know what I mean? That was some years ago before I went to Costa Rica to learn about that shit. You dig? You know what I mean? So I had to let him be. And I knew it was his karma at the time, too. You know, there's certain things he had to just learn. Certain times you can't save everybody. Sometimes you have certain things that are written in your contract, in your soul already. And that's an agreement between you and the Most High and all your higher consciousness. Because a lot of this shit we look at as bad or whatever. Nah, motherfucker, this is for your own soul learning. We have to look at it like a Haru. We have to see it like a Haru, right? Mm-hmm. Haru sees it from all angles, from up high. You see? We're just seeing the moment. In the moment, we fucked up, and we don't understand why it's happening. But later, you see why. You see? So, yes, sister. Here you go. Take mine for a minute, all right?
And the guy, got cool as fuck. Take mine for a second.
I love y'all. I love our people because we do shit differently. You can't reduplicate melanin. You know what I mean? We do shit differently. You dig? Everything we do is different. You know what I mean? And that's why I be telling people, I teach, I love the youth. I love teaching with the youth. But I tell people the problem with the educational system with a lot of these teachers is that y'all don't relate to the youth. Y'all don't know how to talk to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I used to go to school, that shit was boring as shit, dog. You know what I mean? I went to Trotter Middle School, dog. I was fucking skipping school in the first grade, my nigga. You know what I mean? That shit was ghetto as hell, nigga. Right on fucking Humboldt Ave, my dude. You know what I mean? They didn't have a fence over there. So on recess, you know, we had a little recess playtime. I would just walk off the fucking shit. You know what I mean? And go with where the swings were further down. And the fucking teachers never fucking noticed that I wasn't in school. I'm in the first grade, my dude. You know what I mean?
That's
just fucking walking around. As an adult now, as a parent now, that shit's scary. Because I got kids. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, that's how ghetto that shit was. Them niggas didn't need to have a fucking nerve to call my grandmother or my pops or anything. Like, yo, your son who's like, what? At that time, maybe 7, 8. He ain't in school, nigga. He was at recess, and then niggas gone. You know what I mean? But that was me. I always knew day one, even as a kid, that I was different. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, this shit is fucking. You know what I mean? But that's a whole another story, my nigga.
So let me ask you this there, before you get into it. What's a introductory dosage for DMT?
Well, DMT again is different. Like I would say for intro, I would say deal with Shunga. Shunga still has DMT, but they have different herbs with it. So they have like blue lotus, which they used to use in Kemet or Egypt, which is a mild hallucinogen and stuff. And they would mix it with different herbs, and it's called Shunga. And it's a good introduction for people that want to get into this. You know what I mean? And it's not blast you off, but it's very like mellow, zen-like, and it's very relaxing. So for people who have a lot of anxiety issues or have a lot of dealing with can't turn the mind off and all this stuff, that's a good introduction for them. You know what I mean? And that's more chilled out. Just regular DMT itself, for many people, that might not be the fucking beginning step to take because that shit really blasts you off sometimes. You know what I mean? And if a person never had a spiritual experience or an out-of-body experience, that might be overwhelming for that person. They might be like, yo, what the fuck is this? And you have cases of people that sometimes, especially if people have psychotic tendencies already, talking about bipolar, schizophrenia, all that. And I'll just give you a little personal background to my story. My mom was considered schizophrenia, you see? Okay. But there's a whole different story with that, bro, when we look at that from indigenous culture. You see, from the indigenous culture, they would say a person who is considered schizophrenic or have those tendencies was a shaman or a medicine man or a medicine woman, because basically those are the people who can see beyond the veil, beyond the physical to the spiritual. So that nigga that sees Uncle so-and-so who passed away and he's talking to a nigga, it's not that the nigga's crazy. He's actually seeing that nigga in the living room. I see my mom just passed away last year, and she didn't visit me for a while, but I felt her presence in my sister's house the other day, and I was so happy that she came to visit me. You know what I mean? But I know how one of my sisters are. She's comes from Orthodox Islam, and I love her so much, but there's certain degrees that she's not aware of yet. You know what I mean? So I was like, I couldn't say to her at the time, yo, mom's just right here with us. Isn't that beautiful? You know what I mean? But she was all right there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Like the other day, I had a dream. And
I'm getting
shit,
after I get off.
Shit else about the dream. But I talked to my mom on the telephone.
Yeah.
And we both knew that she had transitioned. But it was the same conversation that we'd always had. And like my brother had seen her in a dream, like, I don't know, maybe a week or two before. And I remember just being so jealous of him that he got that opportunity. And I had to wake up and I just thanked my moms for blessing me with that. Like it made me feel, so even when I cry now, like it's a different cry, you know, like I miss her, but I feel better that she came to me in that dream, man. I know that's a little off topic, man, but it just reminded me.
No, it's not off topic. It's not off topic. And blow it through there, sister. It's not off topic. It's right on point, my brother. Because you know why? Like I said, with T'Challa in Black Panther. Mm-hmm. What happened with that nigga? He was buried. He took the medicine, and he was able to go to the dimension where his father passed away, and he was able to speak to him and converse with him and be able to have closure, right? Or whatever the nigga needed. You know what I mean? Mm. But that was what Stan Lee and what Baba Clindy was trying to even teach us, was that Jack Kirby was the real fucking brains behind the Marvel universe. He was the real writer behind the stories in Marvel and the Marvel comics, not Stan Lee. You see, Jack Kirby was into metaphysics. Also, he had connections, as Baba would say, to government secret fucking programs and shit. So he was trying to fucking interweave certain, and you have artists like that. Like, I'll give you an example. One of my great directors who I really have a lot of love and respect for, Stanley Kubrick. He was another one of them.
Yeah.
Before he made that movie, Eyes Wide Shut, with Tom Cruise and that other chick, I forget her name. But he was in an interview where they was telling him, they had some top Illuminati niggas who was like, yo, don't put that movie out, bro. If you put that movie out, they gonna dead you, yo. You know what I mean? You're revealing a little too much in that shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you have certain individuals from the limited place that they are at, even within the inner circle, where they're trying to give clues and trying to give you hints on what's going on. Because you do have awakened people even in the beast system. You know what I mean? You have people that still got their heart chakra open and trying to get shit started. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, shit is real out there, my dude. But in regard to spirit connection along the lines of ancestors, the first time I knew shit was real like that was on the level when I was at my first ayahuasca ceremony, right? And it was a time where I seen my children's mother, right? Mm-hmm. Her grandmother come into the room, into the ceremony room. All right, I never met my wisdom's a grandmother before. You know what I mean? I never, my wife's grandmother before. I never did. You know what I mean? She died of cancer or something like that before I hooked up with Sister Yo-Yo. You know what I mean? Okay. So it was like, at that time, I used to just see pictures of her, right? So it was during a ceremony when Sister Yo-Yo was going for a hard time in the ceremony. Like we're talking about that. Sometimes people could have their stuff come up or whatever that they have to release and things. So she was going through a hard time, and I seen it. She was screaming, kind of go through some things, and I seen her grandmother come, the spirit of her grandmother come into the room, right? She was dressed all in white, and she had her head wrap, a white head wrap, right? Mm-hmm. She hovered over Sister Yo-Yo. And I could see her just relax. It was deep. I just observed it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes we think we're tripping out, my nigga. We might think like, yo, was that just my imagination or whatever, right? So when we was coming down from the medicine, I checked in with Yo-Yo. I was like, yo. No, I didn't even check in. Let me rewind. She fucking started telling me first, nigga. You know what I mean? She's like, yo, she was like sharing with certain shit she was going through in her journey. She's like, oh yeah, Dooley, by the way, my grandmother came and visited me. I was like, what? And I didn't even tell her, bro, what I see. You dig? I didn't even tell her what I see. You know what I mean? So I was like, then I was tripping at that point because I was like, what? What did you just say? So I was telling her, I was like, yo, I seen your grandmother come into the room. She came into the room when you was, you know, going through what you was going through, and she was coming to give you some comfort. You know what I mean? So, bro, my G, you know what I mean? Spirit world is live, my nigga. The greatest shit they try to fool you, niggas, is to keep you locked in materialism. You know what I mean? And to think that, dog, after you fucking decease and go into that bucket or that motherfucking grave, that you're done, nigga. The fuck out of here. Are you serious, dog? Listen, your essence
so let me ask you
is eternal, nigga.
this. Can you intentionally visit somebody that's transitioned, or is that
Of course you can.
happenstance?
Of course you can. Absolutely can, my dude. You know the beautiful thing that Baba Kalindi gave us before, some of his students before he left? Two things. The transdimensional crystal and the Ming Evening Zoo crystal. All right? Now, the transdimensional crystal is so deep because that shit... Okay, may give... First, before I say this shit, may just give praise to Most High and the ancestors, my nigga, because our ancestors are so deep, my nigga. Wow, nigga, them niggas is deep, dog. Thank you. So, when we talk about technology, bro, when we think of like Apple computer, all this shit, like IBM, all this shit, you know what I mean? Yo, Kalindi was trying to tell us, like, we had ill computers way back when. Like I was talking about before, Lemuria, Atlantis. And then if you look at the description of Plato, you know, the Greek philosopher back in the day, he talked about Atlantis, the sunken city. And he talked about how that was a very highly technically advanced civilization that used a lot of crystals with their technology. Now, one person that we know that used a lot of crystal technology was that dude, Nikola Tesla. He was trying to give us free energy. You know what I mean? He was trying to rid the world of us paying fucking gas and motherfucking electricity and all that other shit. But who got in his way? J.P. Morgan, motherfucking, what's that other nigga? I forget his name. But, you know, these niggas, these motherfuckers are all about their money and power.
Yeah.
And again, don't worry. The last thing I want people out there listening is thinking that somebody got power over you. Nobody got power over you, all right? You just got to wake up, all right? But when you live in a certain age and you live in a certain time, like I said, that's a little more difficult than the other. Example of that, I could give you an easy example of that. For all my niggas who love sci-fi, Star Wars. Okay. There was a point where the Sith Lords were running shit, right? Because we all go through cycles, right? Yeah. So there was a time when Yoda had to go to the swamp planet to hide. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, I got to get out of Dodge, dog, because Darth Vader and the rest of them niggas is about to fucking set shit off. And we at our weakest point right now as the Jedi. So you sometimes have to use wisdom. And as they would say, be a hidden practitioner. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these lame-ass niggas don't fucking protect their leaders anyway. Bitch-ass niggas. You know what I mean? Let fucking these niggas fall by the wayside without any fucking protection. You know what I mean? Dr. Sabi, all the rest of them. Come on, man. We shouldn't let our leaders go out like that, dog. Come on, man. Where my real fucking soldiers at, dog?
So,
you know what I mean?
So since you brought that up, you don't think that Dr. Sabi just died of natural causes? Well, he's like 80, right?
Fuck no. I have a fucking student of his, a beautiful, beautiful sister, who's a daughter of Aset. I seen her turn into Aset or Isis during the Bufo ceremony, which we had a spontaneous healing to help a nigga get out of a wheelchair. Came from fucking rehab, my nigga. Had a fucking stroke. Came from rehab, my nigga. Couldn't walk for 5 months, my nigga. Comes to this fucking retreat. And I tell this nigga, you're going to walk again, right? He's like, I'm going to walk again, dude? Nah, you're going to walk again, my nigga. You know what I mean? He in a wheelchair, my nigga. We were helping him to the fucking bathroom, all this shit. Helping him go this way, that way, right? During the Bufo ceremony, because you have to understand, the Bufo is the fucking most strongest fucking, medicine on the planet. Like I said, look at Mike Tyson when he took that shit. Humbled Iron Mike. You know what I mean? At that point, my nigga, I'm like, I see in my third hour, like, that medicine is so strong that every cell in his body is going to be renewed. I just knew it. You know what I mean? I just knew it, brother. You know what I mean? Long story short, and there's a lot of stuff to that. You know what I mean? That's just a whole fucking show itself, what happened in between. But there's certain shit I can't say on record, dog. I really can't. Okay. It's too dangerous, my nigga. But I'll tell you, one thing I do know is that after it was done and the thunder came out to confirm all that shit and everything, my sister, Dr. A, was like, stand up, Kari. You know what I mean? Niggas stand, yes. Niggas stand up, right? Niggas stand up, right? He had two dudes that was beside him, all right? My homeboy Kari's like, yo, nah, man. I don't need no help. I'm good. Bro, I seen this with my own eyes, bro. Dude started fucking walking, bro. Not only did he start fucking walking, the nigga, she had a doctor had a tree in her backyard. The nigga started running around the tree. All right? He started picking up pace, running around. He skipped twice. I seen it. And because my eye was still open from that bufo medicine, I seen his deceased mother right beside him, cheering him on. Shit was crazy. Now, there was a woman that was driving by, right? Mm-hmm. She was driving by with her daughter. She stopped her car, got out the car, tears in her eye and shit. She came up to me. She's like, I don't know what y'all doing, but I had to stop. I felt all this love and energy over there. You know what I mean? And she was like, I was like, yo, I started saying to her, I was like, you see this man over here? He's walking. By that time, he was getting tired. You see that man over there walking around that tree? And she's like, yeah. I said, 5 hours ago, he couldn't walk. She's like, are you serious?
Now you know what people are going to compare that to.
No. Listen, my nigga. I didn't tell you the full story because there's certain shit I can't go on record, my nigga. And I don't give a fuck who sees it. I could show you the video of the woman filming it when she got out the car. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. Now, after, when she started telling me, she said, listen, she said, this is what she told me. She said, I was depressed. She said, I was highly depressed this morning. Right? She said, I was down and out. She said, now I understand she comes from a Christian background, what have you, whatever. You know what I mean? She says God told her to go out the house and just drive. She started driving with her daughter. She came to the street where we was at, right? And that's when she witnessed the shit that she witnessed. You know what I mean? When I told her that nigga wasn't walking 5 hours ago, she said, are you serious? I said, I'm dead serious. All right? She said, can I film? She said, can I film for my Christian sisters this? I was like, sure. I was like, fuck it, man. Do what you have to. You know what I mean? And all she seen was us doing the last chant, which was a Kemetic chant, saying, Harution, Harution, Harution. That's a chant. That's an ancient Kemetic chant that deals with the mythology story of Haru, or the uncle of Haru, or, you know what I mean, Horus. He's the warrior aspect of yourself. You see, when you talk about these Jews that talk about the Kabbalah, they hijack your culture. I came across I went into a Ethiopian restaurant the other day, right? Mm. And I was talking to this young brother, and I was commenting to him how powerful the paintings were in his restaurant. These old, ancient Nubian kings, Ethiopian kings on his wall, right? And I was saying to him, I was like, isn't it a shame that they hijacked your culture, these so-called Jews? You know what I mean? Ran with you know what I mean? Ran under the guise of coming from Germany and saying we're going to adopt this Ethiopian science and then claiming ourselves as being the so-called original Hebrews. And we got into a deep conversation. And you have to understand that when the so-called Jews deal with the Kabbalah science, we had our own original Kabbalah science within the Medunatir, or the ancient Egyptian science. And that's the blueprint of your soul. That's all the archetypical energies that a human being has to go through before they become one with God or become their God self, you see? Because all we're talking about is God talking to God, you see? But that's higher mystic knowledge, and I don't expect people to understand that if they're not there yet, you see? This is just deep shit, my brother. That's all I'm saying. It's just deep motherfucking
So this
shit.
it's not even
The
just,
real
just
shit
a
I could say, the realest shit I could say, my nigga, I read a poem about this or rap about this one time before Kendrick Lamar even made a rhyme about this. So me and Kendrick must have been on the same page. The rap was talking about God having amnesia, all right? It was in this poem. I don't know where I was going with these lyrics, these bars, but I was like, it was this young man that seen this homeless man on the corner. And he didn't recognize that this nigga was God. You know what I mean? Because he was just looking at from the outward appearance. And what in this poem, the homeless man I was saying was that he was trying to remind the youth that we are God with amnesia. All right? And the only thing I can explain that, and especially when you deal with the medicine Bufo, you'll understand this thing or this term that they called singularity. Okay. These are the certain states of mind that the mystics of the old talked about, all right? When they talked about being one with everything, literally, all right? And from that aspect, when we talk about the mystics of the old, they talked about, when we talk about the Kabbalah, for instance, on the top of the tree of life, there's a certain thing that they called Ensof, right? And Ensof is supposed to be basically the undescribable, the thing that was created before creation, basically the essence of God, which cannot be described or analyzed or anything because it's everything, you see? So from these teachings, they tell us that God, Goddess, whatever we want to call it, created itself to know itself. And that's what I really experienced in many of my shaman experiences, brother. There was many times that I became one with the Most High, the All. And what this essence showed me is that when it created itself, it had to, this is what it told me. It said, I created myself so I could understand myself. He says, I am the homeless man. I am the crackhead. I am the prostitute. I am the intellectual. I am the racist. I am all these fucking things. You know what I mean? Basically. And it's the illest shit that you'll fucking ever experienced, my nigga. You know what I mean? The first time I smoked Bufo, I did it in Staten Island. And I felt that was very interesting. That was the first place that Great Spirit wanted me to smoke it. Because I'm a lover of Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
That's a whole nother show right there. But what I'm getting out of this is that it's not just about the hallucinogenics. It is a whole lifestyle that the hallucinogenics are a part of.
Lifestyle. It is a whole lifestyle, my brother, because we have something called integration. Usually, if you're dealing with a good shaman or a good medicine man, that's really about you growing, not about how much money they can fucking get out of you, because that's what's happening a lot in South America. Truth be told, you know, you have these motherfuckers be like, oh, I'm going to charge you an arm and a leg, and that's why you don't really see black people or so-called melanated people or Moorish people at these conferences, because or these, you know, these retreats and shit. Because if we're dealing with a bunch of people that are just trying to get by, dog, economically, real talk, how the fuck am I going to have enough of money, 4,000, 5,000, get over here in South America, don't know nobody, whatever, to do my thing? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't be done, but most dudes ain't going to put that effort into it like that. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be real. You know what I mean? We look at our priorities. Most niggas want to go to the club and you know, spend a rack on some fucking Hennessy or some other shit than really to sit down with yourself to get to know yourself. And that's what real consciousness is. When we talk about this woke shit, when we talk about this conscious shit, it's not about fucking wearing a kufi or a motherfucking ankh or anything that, or hotep or peace queen or any of these things. Those are outward things that anyone can do.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The inner work, like I said, is where true spirituality comes from. And that's why even in shamanism, we call those things shadow work. Those are the things, like I said earlier, going into the dark places of your subconscious mind that you're not so privy to, that you really don't want to look at. And that's where the real work and the real fucking progression comes from. And after the baseline work comes in, that's when the fucking superpowers start to come out and all that other shit. You know what I mean? Because my father told me from day one that, yeah, son, you could walk through walls. Yeah, you could levitate. Yeah, you could do all those things. You know what I mean? And it took me years and years and years and years later to understand what my father really meant. You see? Do you understand that my mother, I looked into her journal, she had the date of her death in her journal.
Did she die on that day?
Yes, and she died on that day.
Wow.
All right? That shit freaked out my sister, who is the Muslim. My other sister, she's more a little open right now, but it's all good.
I could not handle that, bro. Like, I could not. I would spend the rest of my time trying to change that date. It would completely fuck up my life.
But you see, you have to understand who my mother was. My mother was a mystic, my nigga. You know what I mean? That was my first teacher. You know what I mean? That's a whole show in itself. You know what I mean? She said you should pray to the point where you are weeping and crying at the same time. And that's a true connection. That same thing that you experienced in Bufo, you can do, or smoking, you could do naturally as well, like I said. Not just through breathing, not just through darkroom therapy, but also prayer and meditation. Do you know, after some of my Bufo experiences, especially this past weekend, my level of salat and prayer has been deepened even tenfold. So when even I do my salat and prayer, I'm back at that place, that psychedelic place. I'm back at that singularity place, you see, because it's in us. See, these are tools. And once you use the tools, what happens when you don't need the training wheels no more, right? We was all there when we was trying to learn how to ride a bike, my nigga, right?
Hey, bro,
you gotta put the motherfucking training wheels on first.
I'm trying to help your client out, bro. And then, you just stopped that massage. You just stopped that massage. I'm trying to help your client here.
Y'all stop it. You stop it. Listen, man, I'm just being me. You know what I mean? Some people have a hard time with people being who they are. You know what I mean? The whole world want to tell you how to be. Family want to tell you how to be. Your wife want to tell you how to be. Your girlfriend wants to. Your society, your friends want to tell you how to be. But you know what true freedom is? Is when you accept yourself. You know that? That's what even mushrooms and other shit teaches you. See, a lot of times, even with mushrooms, at the end of a lot of journeys, you might go through a psychedelic journey, a mushroom journey. It might be hard as hell. You might feel like you went for warrior shit. You might feel like you went 1 hour or 2 hours was 5,000 years. Because time gets real tricky when you deal with being in the spirit world as well, right? But after you come from all that, guess what, my brother? There's a level of gratitude. And I'm going to tell you, in transformation, because I'm going to tell you, when you come down and after you do all that work, you start to feel so good. You start to feel like, you know what? I accept my wrinkles. You know what? I accept this little pot belly. You know what? I accept this about, you know what? I fucking do love my motherfucking self. You know what I mean? It is beautiful, brother. And I've seen people be reborn. You know what I mean? Because this is a whole journey about understanding yourself, about who you know as God, another aspect of God. You are God. Of course, people will say, oh, that's blasphemy. Yes, it will be blasphemy until you experience it. That's all I could say. You know what I mean? But
you know, I had that conversation with somebody the other day because I'm one of those people. I don't want to, I don't believe that I'm a God. And what they were saying was, what did they say? That if you don't believe that, we're an extension of God. Mm-hmm. And that would fuck my head up because I had to, it's like, well, God, God tells you, we're made in His image. That's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, they say that in the scriptures. Even Yahshua, Isa, he says, "Don't you know? Isn't it? Doesn't they say of the old that in the scriptures of the old that ye are gods?" Yes, of course they say that. You know what I mean? The great Sufi poet, Rumi said he compared God consciousness to this. You, as a soul, is a drop of water. Mm-hmm. And that drop of water, that soul goes into the great ocean. When you drop into that great ocean, you become one with that ocean. Are you that drop anymore? Or are you God? Are you that soul anymore? Or do you go back to that collective consciousness? You see, my brother, when I first had the Bufo experience, and it was so deep, I'll give you a little description how it went. Because usually, this is what happens sometimes. When you smoke the sacred medicine, usually, most times, you lose control of your body. And you have to have trusted individuals around you to lay down your physical body to make sure you don't hurt yourself. All right? Mm-hmm. And at that point, when that happened, I seen X-ray vision in my body. I could see my blood flowing. I could see my skeleton, all that. It looked similar to one of my favorite artists called Alex Gray. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen any of his paintings, an interesting artist to look up. But at that point, I started to feel my body leave, my spirit leave my body. You know what I mean? At that point, I seen a whole line of masters. It looked similar to the great cartoon that was put on for my stepsons at the time called Avatar, The Last Airbender. There's an episode of that cartoon, which is a deep cartoon for those new awakened souls, those new kids, them indigos, them crystals, right? Mm-hmm. That at that time, she's talking. Oh, okay. Hold on one second. At that time, there is an episode in that show that shows how Aang, one of the main characters, sees all his past life selves. And they were all lined up in a row. It was beautiful in that cartoon. That cartoon is dropping a lot of knowledge for the youngins. Far from He-Man and the Smurfs and all the shit I used to watch, right? Mm-hmm. But anyways,
I used to watch that shit too, bro. It ain't just you.
Yeah, that shit, Smarkles, Thundercats, all the motherfuckers. Okay. Yeah, we almost done too. Yep. So, but at the same time, my dude, knowing that seeing that image reminded me of the same thing I seen in the spirit world. I seen all these masters line up. One of them that I could recognize was this great African avatar by the name of Sheikh Amadou Bamba. Mm-hmm. He comes from Senegal, Africa, right? Mm-hmm. Look that man up. The first time I learned about Sheikh Amadou Bamba was through this great Sufi, this brother named Sheikh Sufi, or Brother Sufi from Philly. He brought the information to people over here about this great master. This brother is on record that this great master, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, the various governments try to kill this man. Almost 300 times. Field accounts, I believe like 258 times. And there's various stories in various journals of assassins that said, I did this to him, did that to him, and the motherfucker, you know what I mean? He can't die. On some next stuff. You know what I mean? That's just another show in itself. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying to you, brother, in a nutshell, that it's more, there's much more to us. And if we take the time and the effort to be able to say, hey, I want to look more to life. There's more to life than just working a 9 to 5. There's more to life than saying just getting materialisms and fucking, get a pension or whatever and kick in the bucket. You know what I mean? So this is what we have to see, man. Take time for yourself. Don't lose the curiosity and the magic of a child, right? I remember Michael Jackson once said, didn't Jesus say to be childlike? He said, Jesus said not to be childish, but to be childlike. Meaning, don't lose your innocence. Meaning, don't let society burden you down so much that you just fucking lose hope in yourself. There was a sister, and she made me cry, man, at the weekend retreat, man. It was deep. This sister said something that was so deep to us. She said, I want to thank you men here, you men of color here, because she said, I started losing faith in y'all. You know what I mean? This is a young sister. I think she had to be in her 20s or whatever. You know what I mean? And she said she was just we had an open discussion at that point after the medicine was coming down and stuff. We called this integration. Meaning this is the work. What do you learn after you was in the spirit world? How can you integrate those lessons into your everyday life? Because, anyone could have an epiphany. Anyone could travel to a motherfucking planet and see their ancestors or whatever. But if you're not applying those lessons that your ancestors try to fucking tell you, then what's the fucking point?
You got a point there, bro.
You see? That's where integration. That's where
And I know you busy, bro. So we'll wrap it up, man, because I know you got other shit to do, man. And I know Keith, man. I know you've been trying to tell me, bro. I appreciate you so much, man, for hooking us up too.
So the thing really on that level, man, and why this is so important is this. What the sister was telling us was this at that weekend retreat. She said this directly. She said, I felt like society been hardening my heart. And she said, this weekend, I feel like my heart was lightened. And she said, you brothers made me, and she said, you brothers made me feel safe. Not near the fire. And she said, you brothers made me feel loved. And that just had me tearing, bro, because she said literally she felt like she hasn't been feeling that from people, especially our own men of color. That's what she said.
We need to write our request,
you know what I mean?
Dailies and put it
so it was a great testimony, brother.
That's so dope, bro. And if people want to get in contact with you, how they do that?
Well, they could get in contact with me several ways. One is on Facebook under Abdul, Abdul, K Wilkins. All right, or you can email me at lovemotherEarth33@gmail.com. You know what I mean? Most likely, you probably try to get me on Facebook because I don't really do the email thing so much, but I occasionally check it. You know what I mean? Okay. And again, what we do here, we're trying to organize more retreats. For next month, we're going to be doing a sweat lodge, and also there's going to be one brother that's going to be talking about ready preparedness, survival awareness, things that you should have on yourself just in case anything goes down. All right, and also teaching people of color how to gain their gun license and things like that. So we're going to be going over some of those things that weekend, plus different healings and different things of many different kinds. You know what I mean? So this is what we're doing. You always can personally contact me too if you want a frog medicine treatment. Frog medicine or combo is completely legal. It's completely legal. So it's like when people talk about psychedelics, right? Or when they talk about
difficult to hear you now. I'm sorry.
Well, when they talk about ethogens or psychedelics or anything of that nature, the government tries to schedule it as a Scheduled 1 drug. All right, that means that it has no medical benefit to it. As we have proven tonight, it does. It has cured, as we proven tonight, Iboga deals with addiction. It's on record right now for mushrooms, ayahuasca, and different things of that nature. Has been proven that it has on record dealt with addiction as well, and it can deal with depression and anxiety and all those things. All right. So we know the trickery that goes on with a lot of these people in power. We know damn well that these things have medical value to it, but they want to keep it from you for many reasons, as we know. Pharmaceutical industry makes billions of dollars each year, so it wouldn't be in their interest to be able to have these things to make more healthier individuals. All right. So there it is. And then from the political and spiritual and even religious level, we know if these things are legalized, then also we know that, again, you know what I mean? We don't have to go through a priest, a rabbi, an imam, or any guru to be able to have a spiritual experience and be able to have a oneness experience with the Om. So a lot of people would go out and work, right? Would that make sense?
It would. Hey, you know what?
Boy.
And
boy.
I want to thank you, bro. Like, this has been
Yes, no worries.
a tutorial.
Yes, no
I don't want to be disrespectful and call it a tutorial.
Yeah.
This has definitely been eye opening. And
Yeah. I just want to say, before you say that, I want to say thank you for the host here, because it was, I tried my best to be able to give and I'm going to go really in now since we're getting off the phone, so I could really make sure this is okay. But we tried our best here to be able to go with the flow, and I'm a Pisces too, so I'm a very go with the flow person. So I try to make the best out of every situation at time. So that's all I have to say to my crew out there, everybody. Also, real quick, real shout out. We have the Detroit Psychedelic Conference coming up August 6th to, I believe, August 9th. And it's going to have a memorial at the end of the conference in honor of the great Baba Kalindi Iyi, the brother who I've been talking about all this weekend. I mean, on this show, and him being the mushroom master, we consider him like Morpheus, Morpheus figure like from the Matrix. So he opened us to a lot. And for your audience, you want to learn more about mushrooms and things like that, check out some of his archives, some of his work. He even went into more further information on the connection of showing how this is an African legacy, and this is part of our culture. All right?
No doubt, man. And again, man, thank you, and thank Keith, man, for hooking us up. And we got to do this again, man, around the conference time, so we can pump that up a little bit too. Man, definitely appreciate it, man.
No worries, bro. It was an honor. Thank you for letting me on your show. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm for the people, brother. So anytime anybody want to be able to have me share, that's what I do, man, because we have to pass the information on. This is not the era about one guru or some master teacher or leader. No, this is about all of us liberating ourselves, man. And we're just passing the information on. That's all we got to do, brother. And we'll see the world change overnight. All right?
All right, man. That's so dope, man. And I'll definitely keep in touch.
All right, no doubt, man. All right, and much love to the audience. Thank you all listeners for tuning in, and keep on working on yourself. Keep on loving yourself. All right? Peace and love.
Man. Peace and love.
All right, man. Take care, man.
Yo, you know what that reminded me of, man? I've been watching this Bruce Lee series, if you've been paying attention. And I'm like, I don't know, episode 40 something. But his willingness and his need to share his kung fu with other people. And I don't mean just in his philosophy, but giving people even competition. Like, he would go to war with somebody and fight their ass off and be like, look, and he literally would say, if I beat you, I want you to teach me your style. And he actually gave competitors, after they fought, not just a move or two, but his best moves. Whether or not that competitor reciprocated. Because he felt that the essence of martial arts was bigger than him. Anyway, on that note, man, appreciate you, Keith, man, for hooking us up. I'm sorry, Teresa, but we just about over. Please make sure y'all check this one out again, man. Shout out to Abdul Wilkins. Very, very, very dope conversation. And I learned a lot of shit tonight. So, and it's not just the hallucinogens, although that's what you're going to see. It is a whole lifestyle. It is a whole thought process. It is a whole, just your whole essence and how you operate. So do us a favor and do yourself a favor. Go back and check this out. And don't forget to share it with somebody. Tag somebody, whatever you got to do, man. Like the fan page, My Skin is My Sin, and Intellectually Petty Radio. And yeah, because we're struggling on that one. So help us out on the Intellectually Petty Radio. And we got Wallow and Gilly coming on next week. That's going to be a fire episode. And we out. Peace, fam.